Howdy everybody, welcome back to the Cast Gaming Channel. James here once again. I've got another Napoleonic Total War Mod 3 replay for you guys today. It's going to be a 4v4 replay, but before we go ahead and get into it, I just want to remind everybody once again, I am sponsoring a Napoleonic Total War Mod tournament, and the tournament will also be 4v4 with a first prize of $100, and I'd like to interview the winning team as well. So if you are interested in that, or if you would like to send me any replays, go ahead and send something to my email address, which is TheCastGamingChannel@gmail.com. Or you can send something to my Discord, which is in the description box below. My email will also be in the description box below, along with the Discord link. So with that, let's go ahead and get into today's match. It's a 4v4, as I said. It's going to be a bunch of French armies here. Looks like we've got 1805 France as army number 1, followed by Westphalia as army number 2 for the Imperials. And army number 3 is going to be composed of France 1809. And the last Imperial army today is going to be France Orient. And it looks like right off the bat here, I can kind of tell it looks like they're going for the howitzer build, which is essentially the 5-gun howitzer that France Orient has, along with a 339-man general unit. Which is I see from time to time. It's pretty fun to play. I actually prefer France Orient as a faction to play, but for the coalition today, let's see who we can find here. Looks like we've got a Spanish faction, Spain here, a 9-pointer Spain, 1811, 1814, Austria, and who else here? I guess their generals are kind of hidden from me. Here's a United Kingdom faction, 1815. So this is going to be a Waterloo campaign. And there has to be a 4th faction here. Where the heck are you? I know you're here somewhere. Ah, here we go. Here we go. That took me a bit, but I managed it. So it's going to be 2 Austrian armies today for the coalition. This is not a favorable map for the coalition. This is only going to be favorable on the Imperial side. I just took a moment to show you the left and right sides here. You're at a disadvantage on the elevation if you're coming from the coalition side. The Imperials could easily come through this forest, take the high ground, take the 2 1-pointers here that are closest to them. And they also are having the high ground on this side. You might be able to have a little bit of protection in the forest as the coalition. But it looks like France has already, pushed up its calves so far. So what I recommend if you're going to be the coalition, or you're starting out on the coalition side today, is because there really is not a good option for you. There's going to be the best place to attack initially would be the center section right here, because the elevation is pretty much not a big factor up until you get past the forest. You can always push men into the forest if you can get there quick enough. And also, the forest will give you cover from potential cav charges. However, there is this house here. You might be able to take this house potentially initially, which would give you kind of a staging or a kind of a hinge to move your army around if you're going back and forth. Eventually, you might be able to push up into this house, which is also covered from cav charges on either side. assuming you can get there first. But like I said, in general, I don't want to attack anywhere on this map if I'm the coalition, basically. If these starting points are exactly like today's. The other thing I would recommend for the coalition, there are 2 high-level or higher pointer France factions, with 1805 being the 12-pointer France with the 1809 of French faction. I would avoid those as best you can. If you can isolate and attack France Orient or Westphalia, then I would go ahead and do my best to take those, either surround them as best I could, envelop them, or I would take them head on. You want to avoid a battle with these higher pointer France at all cost. So essentially today, because there are 4 one-pointer houses closer to the coalition, or at least on favorable ground of the coalition, I'm sorry, the Imperials, I apologize. The coalition is going to be forced to attack if they want to win the LOC. Looks like we had Westphalia catching some sleeping United Kingdom cav. But as I was saying, the coalition has to attack. They don't have a choice on this map. So I would say if Westphalia and France Orient are going to be popping out of this section, this left flank for the coalition is going to be the best decision out of all possible bad decisions. And on top of that, I would actually take, if you can, I would wheel around my stronger factions to this left side if that's where France Orient and Westphalia are going to be. Any engagement against these French factions are just going to be most likely going to be a delaying engagement. However, if you could get cover in the woods and get France to chase you, or make a stand around one of the houses, that would be beneficial. If you can always retreat into the wooded area to give your army some cover as the coalition. France has got it pretty easy. They can storm the houses. They can storm the houses with access to the roads here. They've got, if they get up here first, they've got excellent cover from the forest. They're on elevated positions all throughout their side, along with starting closer to the houses as well if they need to fall back for whatever reason. They get some excellent artillery cover. If they wanted to place some artillery, let's say right here, they're on a hill. They've got some good angles on the United Kingdom. So if for whatever reason there are some cav charges that come through here, they're going to have to either go around the forest or be incredibly slowed by the forest, maybe even take some fire from this house. There's some more excellent elevated positions with this forest right here if you need to fall back. The coalition could potentially move all the way around here, but that's going to take way too much time. France would be able to maneuver on the other side and probably envelop the armies. Not to mention they're out in the open against an elevated position. I wouldn't recommend attacking that section unless you can isolate this Westphalian unit that seems to be coming up in support of France Orient. UK falling back a little bit, creating a line, which I think is an okay move at the moment. I think he should get more into line a little bit. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure how far up Austria or his allies were, but I think giving up this house without a fight is a mistake. But then again, like I said, I'm not sure how far up Austria's infantry is. Looks like we might have had a howitzer go off right here against Murat's unit. This is a general cavalry unit. Let's see if I can spot the howitzer here. Oh, there it is. In the woods. Good placement here. Good placement here of the howitzers. He's in range. He's inside the forest. He's got a little bit of protection. It's not much, but it's something. But it's just nice to acknowledge or see people acknowledge the terrain. So France forming up here. A common tactic of France Orient is take this giant general unit, set it in square formation, and then put your howitzer and or general inside the square formation. That's not my typical build with France Orient, however. What I do is I get about 12 infantry units together, along with about 3 cav unit. I think I get a light cav unit. I get the dragoons, and the most expensive dragoon unit, and then I also take this cavalry, camel cavalry unit. This, if you're not sure how to use camel cavalry, this particular unit is good for basically being anti-cav. You don't want to charge this into combat with line infantry most of the time. You want to use this in a pure cav engagement. I guess the premise behind camels in this game is that they help morale shock or lower the morale and rout opposing cavalry. So if using them in a line battle, they're not as effective. It looks like Austria's caught some Westphalian hussars out of position in the forest. They're going to charge them, most likely be able to rout them since they're stuck in this forest. So, oh, but it looks like, oh, I thought Westphalia was going to charge their guys into this UK unit, but they're going to go ahead and rout and be destroyed here. Here's a nice artillery position for 1809 France. They've got a nice 5-gun 6-pounder battery here. It's going to be able to do some good damage to this UK cav or this Austrian cav. You can see the hits coming in. And France is taking some hits of their own. These are 6-pounders, so they're not going to do so much damage to line infantry at this distance, but they're going to be great for the cav, as I said. Just one thing really quick. I don't like to bring these giant gun batteries, mostly because they leave giant gaps in your line, and you have to dedicate some mind power and remembering, okay, I gotta defend this, so I gotta bring a bunch of cav to defend it. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that these bigger units are more vulnerable to cav charges, which is why I typically only like to take about a max of 3-gun artillery battery. And I usually like to stick with 8 to 12 pounders. I typically don't like to go beneath that, but that's just kind of my play style. You can see, as I was talking about earlier with France Orient, they've made this giant square formation. They put their howitzers inside the square formation so that it's going to be completely protected. Unfortunately, they only have 8 other infantry units to get in a line battle, so they could potentially easily be outflanked. So on this other side of the map, we've got Spain in a line right now. I'm not sure how I feel about this. The line is kind of messy. I think they're kind of behind the hill to avoid potential artillery fire. But if I was them, I'd try and get on the crest of the hill if I was going to form a line battle. But it looks like France and Westphalia are going to be forming up on the left side. And Spain is just not going to fare very well in a line battle against either French factions. Might have got a scouting French unit. They're taking a bunch of artillery fire and took a couple volleys. France needs to pull this unit back because it's going to get destroyed, and looks like he's doing that. But Spain's going to easily be overtaken on this side if they do not get some support. Also, I would have liked to have some units in this forest. I don't know if they have any cav back here, which would be extremely helpful for them. Even though Spanish cav is pretty bad. I also don't see any artillery, which I think could be helpful for them. I think that's a mistake not to bring artillery. So Westphalia is forming up. Looks like UK is getting in the line. UK had some extra line infantry. He needs to push these. Whatever extra line infantry he has, he needs to push up in order to support this line. He's going to take some damage from these howitzers. France is very good at shooting, even though it's only an 8-pointer faction versus a 9-pointer UK. He might be worried about taking artillery fire from this 5-gun 6-pounder here from France. Also, let's see the kind of ground he's going to be fighting on. If he's fighting on a higher elevation, good for him. He's taking a bunch of volleys here now that we've got our first real line battle going. France-Orient is just a good-looking army. They just have beautiful uniforms all across. They're gonna have trouble shooting the UK. Looks like there's a little bit of a mound here. They're gonna have to fire over. Beautiful volley from UK. Just love seeing that musket fire. Explosions going off everywhere. I'd say the UK has the better of it on this line battle. Oh no! Whoa! More artillery fire coming in. Looks like it's going overhead though. Gonna miss. Some UK soldiers' lucky day. But I forget what I was saying exactly, but oh look, good. It's good to see that UK is bringing up extra line infantry to cover this flank. It would have been nice if they sent it up earlier. UK looks like it's going for a sneaky cav charge against these guns. I think he should have just sent them in while France was sleeping. But instead he's just going to take a bunch of fire from that artillery. Austria looks like it's going to be coming up on UK's left. He needs to hurry. UK is going to be surrounded here pretty quickly. Its morale is dropping drastically in the center. He's lost a lot of men. This unit's at less than half strength. This one is pretty darn close to half strength. You can see that morale wavering, and that howitzer is just doing some rough damage to the UK line. Just some nasty damage. If I was the United Kingdom here, I think it'd be time to fall back. The other option would be to push up your infantry on this right side into the flank, since France Orient looked like it went to shift and kind of retreat a little bit, but ultimately didn't. So you need to push these guys up as quickly as possible, run them forward, have these guys follow up. You're protected on your flanks from this cavalry unit. The only damage you might take would be from this this gun battery, which doesn't look to be firing at your line infantry and does not have the best angle that I can tell from this hill. Looks like on the other side, France and Spain are close to being engaged, but not yet. So Westphalia on the side needs to be pushing these units closer into the flank of the United Kingdom, but it looks like it might be a little busy getting charged at by Austria. Well done. If I was Austria, I'd retreat my my cav right now. Get away from this line unit as quickly as possible. Push up your infantry like he's doing. Good job. He'll be able to outflank Westphalia on this side. He just needs to keep his cav intact to guard against France Orient's cav on this flank. Also, Westphalia, it looks like they're trying to do a little sneaky LOC move potentially, and he's got 5 units all the way on the right side. This isn't necessarily a bad move, but I'd rather commit these against Austria. You have a good opportunity to outflank Austria if you were to commit an extra 5 units. UK is continuing to have low morale issues in the center with multiple units at half strength or lower. They're not going to be able to survive this this line battle against France Orient unless they pull back and then have this right flank start going into the side of France. And I think this is a mistake. They should just be falling back, not being engaged with France Orient. They should be using these units to push the right flank. This is going to cost them. I know they're probably looking to fill this gap so that they don't get separated, but right now I don't think that's the best use of your infantry. Looks like there's some more cav engagements here. Austria's got some skirmishers here. UK needs to be careful he doesn't charge into the back of them. Austria has an opportunity to get at this cav some more, potentially go after these guns here. See if he'll be able to get the guns. He took a devastating cannonball in the charge. He's not going to be able to route the guns. UK should not have committed his cavalry in this. Skirmishers here might be able to get a volley on France, but it's not looking good for them. Be careful, Austria. You don't run your troops too much. They're already winded, which is going to make them less effective in the line battle, and it's also going to affect their morale. Beautiful volley from Austria. And the return from Westphalia. Really nice to see. Beautiful line battles coming at you here. Spain on the right side. Oh, it does not look good. Might have had to retreat a couple units or had them rout. Spain needs to retreat. Retreat into the woods. Or Austria needs to help come up to support them. Spain has 4 units here, which they could hit the flanks of France right here, along with the support of Austria. Would be great to isolate these units, separate these armies, and then you could turn and hit the flank of this army as well. But really what Spain should be doing, instead of engaging in this line battle, being threatened by this heavy cav, looks like they're only a couple units can form square, not very many. You're not going to win the line battle against this 12-pointer France, against the 11-pointer France. You need to retreat. And it looks like France is going to commit with a heavy cav charge with his cuirassiers. Spain isn't able to form square. This unit's going to rout. He did a nice volley on the cuirassiers. But unfortunately, they're routed. He's going to be able to roll up this line. All France has to do is start pushing forward. And Spain is sleeping on the right side. He's going to get cav charged by some heavy cav and some hussars. They're going to rout this sleeping Spanish cav. Spain, you need to fall back, get into the forest. Austria needed to be helping a lot sooner. Get this artillery into the fight against France. It looks like there was a charge by Austria on this left side. I think you're overcommitting Austria at this. You're overcommitting your... it looks like this is heavy cav. You could easily be charged in the back by this Dragoon unit. There's also this camel cavalry. There's some artillery. Not to mention France has its general right here. And I don't see any more cav for Austria or the United Kingdom, which is going to give free rein for France to threaten the left flank. Austria is doing a good job. They're beating Westphalia in the line battle, but they're going to be threatened here by this cav. Not to mention, there could be some... Westphalia could always take this infantry and push into the back of Austria, which is what I recommend him doing at the moment. I don't know why he's committed so many units to this side. He's got guys in the house. At least take 2 of these units and commit them to the fight over here. Could potentially take out this general, maybe even surprise the artillery here. And this is what I was talking about. France has got free rein with its cavalry right now. These units cannot form square. He could just charge them right in. Or he could always just go around the back and sandwich these line units. We got a France Orient unit routing here. UK, you need to push. Continue to push. Continue to push this left flank. Looks like France is going in for that charge in the back of the Austrian line. Westphalia has an excellent volley on Austria while they're distracted by this cavalry. We'll see if they break. So the cav broke. Austria will most likely be able to reform. On this right side, it looks like Spain has just crumbled. Austria at least was able to fight in the woods, which is what I like to see. They do have some heavy cav. It's going to get charged in the back by some hussars. Some more hussars coming. France is bringing up infantry support, and Austria is just going to need to fall back. Their lines are back charged. Their heavy cav is threatened. See if we can take a little look at what's going on in the woods here. Some nice volleys going back and forth here. Now might be a good time to just turn this Austrian unit into the side of this French unit. Get some excellent flanking fire. You could always retreat this unit further into the forest. And this artillery really should be engaged with this French flank. This artillery unit is also way too far forward. This artillery is just not effective right now. It needs to be in the flank of France, or it could have been used to support the push here. Austria has done a great job despite having some cav troubles on this left side. Westphalia and France Orient have been pushed back by this combined coalition force. France, before taking this square unit, or this unit out of square, I would have taken this howitzer unit, limbered it up, moved it behind the lines, repositioned it, and then unlimbered it again, maybe without the support of this line unit, now that Austria doesn't really have any cav and the United Kingdom doesn't really have any cav. Because if you leave it here, it could easily be overwhelmed or charged by the infantry. And that's something that you want to protect. This line unit should be able to do some really nice damage against the UK line because it's a 339-man unit. That'll be able to bring a lot of guns to bear. I believe that particular unit can shoot very quickly. So we do have a French unit routing. Looks like France is either going for point blank or maybe nope, he's retreating. Good job here on Spain, getting some flanking fire. Needs to be careful he doesn't get outflanked on this left side, or at least be able to fold some of his army. This is a mistake by Spain right here. He needs to be taking this flank. He's got the local superiority on this side. Take these units, hit them into the flank of France right here. He'd have some extra excellent opportunities to really put some damage into the French line. And it's good to see that Austria is retreating. It's nice to see that they're not just committing their army so that it can be destroyed. Spain was able to push up some extra units, give them time for his ally to fold up. But it's really irritating. It's really irking me to see these line units not engaged on this side of France. You're missing a huge opportunity. Westphalia looks like it's pushing up its infantry to take some more of the houses. I wouldn't have even bothered. I think these units would have been better served against the line battle versus Austria and the United Kingdom. Looks like this general unit was charged potentially into the United Kingdom. And he might be able to last. I don't know. It's probably not something I would have done. I probably would have just tried to keep it as best I could. But you can see what I was talking about. You know, this unit of 50 men that's left charged into these guns. France Orient was able to pull them back. But unfortunately, you know, without being able to take back this ground, there's nothing you can really do about it. Again, if I was France in this, on this side, I'd be folding back this flank, not engaging. I'd also be retreating with Westphalia here. If I was Westphalia, I would have limbered up these guns, moved them back further so you can maybe on this hill right here so you can continue to get fire into Austria. But don't leave them on the line if you can. Oh, we've got a charge here. What is this from? A small CA Cav unit. This line infantry, this general unit should be enough to take out this German legion. And this is exactly what France should be doing right now. They can't win this battle. They need to continually retreat. UK and Austria is too much for them. It might be a better option for these coalition armies to come over, help out their allies now that these units are damaged and that they're retreating. And this is what I was talking about. This was an unnecessary sacrifice. I see this all the time. People just do not reposition their artillery as well as they should. Again, Spain is just not engaging these units. It's frustrating the heck out of me to watch. Let's see, has France got any more units? Yes, they're in the back here. It looks like France is shifting over, maybe either hit the flank of this, or maybe they're going to help out their allies. France on this side's got to be careful. He could easily be overwhelmed by all this Austrian infantry. There's gaps. There's so many gaps that I've seen in this French line throughout this match that Austria and Spain have just not been capitalizing on. If the coalition continues to retreat, they can retreat through the forest and up this hill towards their artillery. They can bring a ton of artillery to bear on France, not to mention hold the high ground. I think that's exactly what the coalition should be doing right now. They should be retreating. I'm surprised to see this unit morales. These units' morale are so low at the moment. Just against this single French unit. Although I believe these are pretty quick shooting line infantry, so it may be a bit difficult for them. Austria, be careful. You've got some French cuirassiers sneaking up on these chevaliers. Oh, looks like there's a huge rout in the center, and this is what I was talking about. Should have continually retreat up the hill, use your artillery as support against France. Not to mention, these units are just now getting into the fight. Just now, as their center and right side is completely crumbling, and there's still an unused unit here. Should be pushing these units much closer. Push these units up super close to this French unit. It either has to retreat or take devastating damage. We've got a cav engagement here. I think France is going to come out on top on this one. They've got the higher quality heavy cav here versus just a light cav unit. It's not going to go well for them. Looks like this general unit has been isolated. Austria, I think you overcommitted here against France Orient and Westphalia. Don't even bother with this house. It's too strong of a defensive position. All of your units are tired or winded. You're still running them. That's a big mistake. France still has a bunch of cavalry left, and then this huge 5-gun 10-pounder is left completely undefended. Huge mistake. It's going to be taken over by this hussar unit. It's an extremely costly move. If anything, Austria's going to exhaust itself getting over here, and then their morale is going to drop, and then France, being at this house position, has flanking fire on them. The higher elevation, they're just going to be able to rout Austria. You can see a unit's already going right now. This was a big mistake. United Kingdom at least was heading in the right position. He was stopped by France and threatened by Cav. You can see this French Cav's about to get in the back line of the United Kingdom here. He's probably going to be able to do a lot of damage. Let's see if he can just start charging this unit in. Oh, it looks like he got caught on this United Kingdom infantry unit. So Austria and Spain on this center and right side are now completely gone except for this gun emplacement. They've got a few units left on the extreme left flank of their army, but these guys are wavering. They're gonna rout pretty quickly with some support from additional French infantry. And I think this collapse could have been prevented had they continually retreated through the forest, had they repositioned these guns. If they could have, it looks like they might have been be able to reposition only a couple of them. Got some more French cav in the back against just some light cav. The light cav is probably not going to be enough to break the heavy cav, even though they're very tired and under half strength. There's this unit right here, which could have been protecting the guns. Austria on this left flank is completely gone. UK is going to be rolled up. Look at this general unit. This general unit is one heck of a unit. It's only at a third strength, and it's basically been taken on the entirety of the UK line by itself, except for some guns and some skirmishers. And I guess now 1805 France has been coming up. This cav still threatening the flank of the United Kingdom. Any moment, Westphalia and France Orient can start bringing up their troops behind the United Kingdom. Got to get rid of these notifications here. But there's not really much anything the UK can do at this point. It might have been an option to retreat to the woods at some point, but unfortunately, that option is no more. It's like France Orient was trying to be sneaky, get their howitzers back to fire behind the United Kingdom. Not going to happen. Some hussars routing this UK unit. Going to charge them right in the back of what's left of the United Kingdom. They're going to rout real quick. See if there's anything left over here. Looks like there's a few Austrian units against one line infantry. So it looks like at the end of the day, the Imperials have captured all of the houses at this point, except for one, maybe? Okay, this is the only one that has not been captured. It looks like the Imperials actually did take all the houses. We'll just say even though there isn't a unit, there was one in here originally. We'll just say for the sake of argument that they did capture all the houses. Even though it wasn't really necessary. This is, I don't mean to harp on the coalition. I feel like I was just kind of pointing out all of their faults throughout this entire match, but this is a tough map. This is a tough map if you're the coalition. I don't begrudge you. You needed to play this map near perfectly. You need to have it good coordination, which may or may not have happened between the coalition players. But there just wasn't any good position to attack. There just wasn't. So I did like that. I did like to see that they went after the lower pointer factions. That was a smart move. It's what I would have done. And they were able to defeat them pretty much for the most part. Austria, unfortunately, overextended itself. UK was not able to come back. It ended up getting surrounded. What they should have done is once the UK and, once France Orient and Westphalia started falling back to the house, it should have been time to come over and support their allies in the center. And then they could have used their artillery that they had here with excellent protection. They had a huge, I want to say there was like 6 different gun batteries in this forested area along the middle section right here. I think there was even like a 12-pounder or something right here. Or maybe it was right here. They could have brought all that to bear on France at that point. Now, France did come over to engage. This 12-pointer faction did come over to engage and help out its allies on this other side, but it would have been facing two factions, and the United Kingdom could have pinned them in place in this forested area, and then Austria could have outflanked them, or vice versa, and they could have moved up some guns here to support that movement, while Spain and Austria on this right flank just continually fell back. So when it's falling back, when you're falling back, it should go without saying you want to keep your armies intact. You want to keep the retreats orderly as best as you can. But if you're being forced into retreat, or you think retreat is the better option, just continue to give ground. Just continue. Your option is your goal is to delay, to give time to your allies to do whatever they're going to do. If they're going to capture a point, if they're going to roll up an enemy's line, if they're going to go for a cav charge, if they're repositioning their artillery, what have you. That's the goal of the retreat. The retreat is to keep your army intact and give other people time. Now you can do what's called kiting, is where you retreat your infantry, you turn them back around, you fire a volley at the enemy infantry, start retreating again. That's not something I do. You can do that. It is especially effective against the United Kingdom. I typically don't do that. It's more of just like I'm retreating to. There aren't a lot of scenarios where that's going to happen that I can think of. It's mostly going to be I'm retreating to stay alive, so that the enemy's attention is focused on my army, and that my allies can have time to do whatever. But looks like we're just going to be mopping up, taking houses, what have you. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to the end. Good game to everybody. I'll go ahead and go through the kill list here. This, if I didn't mention it earlier, this particular replay was sent in by Stand. So as I said, let's go over the kill count here. Fun Balls was playing as, I believe, the 11-pointer France. He had 4,529 kills. That's pretty darn good. I don't think I've seen kills in a game that high. Garrick was playing as France Orient, and he had 1,109 kills. Stand was playing as Westphalia and had 1,214 kills. Pius was playing as a 12-pointer France, had 1,508 kills. For the coalition today, Chamberlain was playing as Spain with 665 kills. Marijuana was playing as the United Kingdom with 1,019 kills. Shrek was playing as the first Austria. I'm not sure which side he was on, with 745 kills. And Clemol was playing as the other Austrian faction with 661 kills. So this is going to be the Westphalian army, and the top unit had 266 kills. All right, like I said, good game to everybody. If you're interested in the tournament, go ahead, sign up, send something to my email address, or head to my Discord, which is in the link in the description box. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.